So my buddy came over today with his C300. Got a coolant leak and couldn't figure it out. But after using my master kit and did a test to it, we found there's a auxiliary pipe under the intake that was leaking. So we're gonna replace that. So I started to take it apart already, but I know the tool you're gonna need is like a E10 socket and a T25. First you have to take this intake off. Right here, there's a clip right here. You gotta take that clip apart. Once you take that clip off, you undo these, and there's another clip at the bottom. You press it and you could take it off, because I start taking it off already. So I was like, man, I haven't seen a video on this, so I was gonna make a video. So you have to take the air box off, and also you have to loosen the computer. There's two clips right here for the computer. You have to loosen it to take it off the air box. And there's the screws for the air box. There's a screw here, there's one down in there, it's hard to see, and there's a screw back here right between these pipes. So I'm not going to move these because I don't want to break it. And then you have to unplug the intake sensor right there. There's wires, I just unplug them and unclip them and lift them off of the air box, and then you could lift the air box out. But it's a pain in the ass to get the air box out.
He is barely my assholes.
The top lid is a pain to get it out. And also there's one bolt right here, right there, that holds the air box down, and on this side it has a grommet where the back of the air box is pushed down into. So we're gonna get that off. Also, you have to loosen this clip and wiggle this piece of the intake out and get it out. Also, this, pain in the ass. That one right there, pain in the ass. They have to get off of this, and then you could take it out. So to get the bottom piece of the air box, as you can see, it's pushed down right here and here. So you have to wiggle it out and get it up like that, and then you have to pull these out and try to lift the box out. That's my neighbor. So we're taking the box out like that. Under the intake, there's the pipe that's leaking all the coolant, called auxiliary water pipe. I'm sorry. Gotta get that out. Yeah, so to remove that pipe, you have to take the intake off, and there's a lot of connectors on the intake. Pretty sure you have to take this one off. There's a screw right here. You have to take that screw out. Pretty sure you got to take these apart. There's one at the bottom right there. You have to take that apart, and after you take that apart, you could unfree the intake from here. We also got to unplug the sensor right here. Get that out the way. So, and also when you're gonna do your stuff, you gotta unplug these water pipes right here, and there's one at the bottom underneath here. You have to also get that one out, but this is not an easy job. I can't imagine how much the dealer will gonna charge to do this job.
Dude, holy crap, this is like $15,000?
So pretty much to take the intake out, you're gonna need an E10 socket. And also to take the water pipe off, you're gonna need an E10 socket and also a T25 to get that little bolt out. But I think once I get it out, it should be good. But let's see how we go from here. So I'm gonna start taking these off. That one right there, I gotta take off. So once I take those off, I should be able to drop the hose off the intake, and then I could loosen the intake and get it off. Yeah, to get the intake off, you have to pull this bolt, this little clamp right here that holds the intake to the throttle body. You have to take that off. You got to see if anything else is holding the intake manifold, if you got a brace or so. We'll check that in a minute. So on this clamp right here, it's a 7mm. So you're gonna need a 7mm to loosen it right there. And once we do that, could try to lift the intake up. Also, there's a plug under here that you have to unplug. I can't see it. Yes, it was a pain to get the intake off. Also, lighting quality is kind of bad because the sun is so hot. But you have to unplug the sensor here also on the intake. This is under the bottom of the intake manifold. You have this pipe that pushed into the side. You have all these clips, and once you get those off, then you could see your little culprit right here. So a culprit is this pipe right here, and it goes under, and if you could see, it goes over to the block, the engine block right there. So we're gonna try to get this off, and then it's not that hard. It's just complicated to how they have all the things chucked up on the inside, but gonna get it done. So now I get the intake off, and I'm gonna take that pipe here off from here. Gotta take that off, get this pipe out the way, so we could take that. Make sure to block off the intake manifold holes, your intercooler, and don't forget to remove the rags, because if not, you're gonna be in serious trouble, bro. Also, you have to take off this bracket right here, and then after you take that bracket off, you take this hose off. This hose right here, you have to take this off. I already took the clamp off. And then that hose right there, you have to get that off the block. And once you get it off, you pull this bolt right here, pull that bolt right there, and there's two right here. You pull those, and then you could take the pipe out. Also, you have to pull off this hose right here that's coming from the heater core, coming up to this right here. So to actually get this out the way, you have to move this. There's a bracket right here, right there, and it's bolt onto that. You move that out the way, loosen the two bolts back there, take off the heater core hose, and then we can pull this. We could pull this thing right here, and we should be ready to get her pipe out of the block. So there you go. I'll pull it out.
That's what she said.
So when you buy this pipe, it comes with the bolts, but I was looking online researching it, and I didn't see anything or a video on how to do it. But if you're leaking coolant, this is gonna be the main cause of your culprit right here. I'll get you a part number for this pipe, and from Mercedes Benz, and see. So if you look, the pipe go on back the same way you take it off. Just follow the steps and put it back on. Now I'm gonna try to do a pressure test on the radiator, on the line, make sure there's no leak before I put the intake on, because man, that thing is hard to get off. So right now I got a little bit of coolant in the system, and I'm gonna pump it up and probably put about 10 pounds in there and watch it and see if I got leaks anywhere. But yeah, so everything's kind of looking good. I got my gauge sitting around 10 pounds, and I'll just watch it for like 5 minutes and see if I have any leaks, and I'll check all my lines, make sure no leaks going on before I put the intake on, because I said, like, when you put the intake on, it's crazy. So on that pipe, I know those Mercedes bolts torque to like 9 foot-pounds, so I just torqued them to 9 foot-pound, and I didn't have no problem with it. So everything seems good. I'm gonna leave this for 5 minutes and come back and see if we still holding pressure. So I leave it for 10 minutes, come back, my gauge is still reading the 10 pounds. So now I'm gonna take it off, gonna put some coolant in. We know the coolant lines are good, we don't got any leaks. So all I have to do is put the intake back on. There's an easier way to put the intake on. First you gotta try to catch this sensor on the flap, for the flap on the airbox, and then you could push the intake on right here, because this wire is pretty tight and it doesn't move. So then you could push this back underneath the airbox and you should be good. And pretty much that's it, and button it up. So like I said, you put everything back on. We got the intake back on, we don't got no coolant leaks, all the lines are plugged up. My sensor over here for the intake flap is plugged up. My wire harness is back here to the intake where it is. My knock sensor back here is on. Put it back. All the wirings like original. Just got the airbox to put back on, and then I could fire it up and see. So I already tested for leaks. I ain't got no leaks because I checked it with the compression, the coolant compression kit, and there's no leaks or nothing. So we're good to go. So to put the airbox in is a little bit challenging. So, because remember the computer is bolted to the airbox. So put it like that, and then you gotta get it down and bolted it down. And I gotta get my air filter and put it inside. So since the airbox lid is hard to come off, I just replaced the filter, because the filter needed replaced anyway, because it was hard like a rock. This is not my car, this is my buddy car I'm working on. So, and once you put that on, you could put the airbox lid back on. Then you have to put the computer down inside here, and it has 2 little hooks right here where you see my finger. Has 2 little hooks right there. You drop the computer in it, and then you use these clips right here to clip the computer on. And you could put your intake back there, tighten up everything, make sure everything is, double check your work, and put all your ducts back in row, and you're good to go. And that's it. Just like and subscribe. My first video. So now everything is finally together, back together, and I'm running the heater at full blast, so I could get heat on the inside. Once I get heat on the inside, I'm gonna turn it off and then make sure the fan kicks in before anything else. Right now, the fan's not spinning, so we're gonna bleed the system, bleed out the air in the system, just let it run with the heat on full blast, and that should get rid of the heat out of the system. And then we'll just run it and make sure the fan come on before I give it to my buddy. Thanks for watching.